Hi there, my name is Kaylee. I live with my wife Shay, who's not here right now, and I'm paying off some big debt in the Big Apple. And I'm here today to talk to you about what happens next. So, if you live in the United States, or honestly, even most places in the world, you know that there's been a lot of stuff happening with student loans in the US right now. So I am on a journey to pay off six figures in student loan debt. I had over $170,000 in student loans when I started this journey during COVID. During late 2020, I began my debt payoff journey with the loans, and it's been a long one, and I'm still working really hard at it. And I was on something called the SAVE plan, which stands for Savings for a Valuable Education. And it is no more, basically. So what the SAVE plan did was, if your payment, like the monthly payment assigned to you based on your income and all the things that go into factoring your monthly payment, if that payment was less than the interest that accumulated on your loans monthly, which, as you can imagine, with six figures in student loan debt, the interest is quite a lot. So the payment based on my income when I joined the plan was like $500. My monthly interest accrual was like $800. And so that last $300 was just kind of disappeared. It didn't exist anymore. So what that allowed me to do was pay $600, $700, and make a difference in the principal balance of my loan. Whereas before, I was paying full payments and my loans were actually growing. If I didn't pay more than, it was almost $1,000 in interest accumulating every month on these loans. So the SAVE plan was kind of a game changer as far as making progress on the principal of the loans, as well as just getting my income up and allocating more money to the loans. That helped a lot too. So for 1 million reasons, basically the SAVE plan isn't officially dead, but it's pretty much dead. It's going away. And there's nothing I can do about that. I wish it wasn't. I have no problem paying back the balance of my loans, but the interest is so killer. So it really hurts that I'm going to have to go back to paying the full interest balance on these loans. Some of these graduate school loans that I have are 6+%. So it's not insignificant. But it's gone now. And all I can do is think about what the next thing is. What do I do next? How do we move forward? At the end of this month, it's currently July, you're watching this on July 15th. On August 1st, interest will once again begin accumulating on my student loans. I am lucky that I have the income available, that I've been able to just kind of shovel money aside. I've been putting money into a high yield savings account the entire time. I will link a video down below of during COVID and beyond, when we were in the COVID forbearance and there was no interest accumulating and there was no payments due. I was saving money and setting money aside, and I made a big payment on my loans when the payment started back up again, and I was paying on them weekly. Every single week I sat down, I did my budget, and I paid money on all my student loans, and that amount of money that I pay has gone up little by little over time. And basically it's time to do that again. So if you're new here, you're going to see what that used to look like. I have been saving ever since they announced that SAVE was going through the court system and it was being challenged. That I have been, once again, I started saving money and putting money aside into a high yield savings account. I've been collecting money and just waiting to see what would happen. I thought that this would probably happen at some point. I was hoping it would be a little while longer, or that maybe the court case would shake out in the favor of the SAVE plan so I could, it's also raining so much. So I could, continue to make this, the advance in the principal balance of the loan and not be paying so much towards interest every single month. But here we are, and here's what we're going to do. So first, I'm not going to make a payment today. Also, spoiler alert, I'm going to wait as long as possible. So it's June 15th, and August 1st is when they start collecting, or they start generating interest again. So what I'm going to do is, probably on July 28th, I will transfer over all the funds that I've set aside in my high yield savings account to my regular account that I usually pay my student loans out of. And then it'll probably take a day or two to transfer. And then on the 31st, I will sit down and make a gigantic, crazy payment to my student loans. And at the request of one of our subscribers, Libby or Liz or whatever you prefer to go by on the internet, we're going to toast to a job well done in preparing in the face of uncertainty and laying the groundwork that allowed us to save a bunch of money in a short amount of time. We've been saving since October of last year, I think is when it paused. So October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, 10 months. 10 months we've been saving and saving and saving and just waiting for this day to come. And so we're feeling pretty proud of the work that we've done, and we still have a lot more work to go. So let's look at the numbers really quickly and mentally prepare for this a little bit more, shall we? So what we've got here is a whole bunch of loans. You can also see that there's 4 of them that we've paid off entirely. And what I'm doing is something called the debt avalanche, where you pay off things with the highest interest rate first. Wow. Because financially that makes the most sense. I know some people look at these smaller loans and get itchy, and I understand that. I really do. The Dave Ramsey debt snowball would say knock all these out and roll things into the bigger loans. And again, I totally understand that. I am focused on the high interest rates. Those bother me the most right now. That's really all it comes down to, is the high interest rates bother me the most. Financially, technically, mathematically, it makes more sense to focus on the interest rate. Psychologically, if you need a quick win, it is really nice to slam one of these things out really fast. I totally get that. And I also fully reserve the right, if one of these days I'm feeling real down and I want to pay off a loan, sometimes I'll just go in. That's how some of these got knocked out, is I just went in and I said, I'm feeling kind of annoyed at these and I want to pay one off and just see a zero. So I'll jump in and we'll work on one of these for a little while. So you see some down here, but also some up here that have been paid off, because I sometimes just need a quick win, and then I'll deploy that debt snowball strategy and we'll knock one of these little guys out. But for now, I'm really diving in right here. It's my biggest loan. It's also the highest interest rate. Student loan 10. Student loan 10 right now. The balance is $24,678. And I'm throwing, basically the plan is, these are all set to just over the interest rate every month for each of these loans. And then anything left goes onto this guy. So the target for student loan 10 is $689 a month, because that's what's left after paying the interest on all the other loans. So what you can also see, so I have $18,205 that we've saved in 10 months, which is wild, and also more than we saved during the entire COVID forbearance, because my income has changed pretty drastically and my life expenses have changed slightly, but not so much, because I've just been putting, I got a decent size raise, and what I did was up the amount that I put towards my student loans first and foremost, because I want these things to go away. So if we look at student loan 10, I was pretty close. I've got 18,205. We've got 24,678. For now, I mean, this is what it is, but we're also going to have 2 more paychecks before we transfer the money. So that's another $650. So we're going to be looking at $19,000-ish by the end of this month. Let's do some quick math here. The quick and dirties. $19,000. So we're going to be $56.78. I'm not good at math, that's why I had to do that in there, okay? About $5,700 away from paying off the biggest loan, as well as the highest interest rate loan. And I really think that we can do that by the end of this year, even with the interest turning back on. So I'm feeling really solid and excited about that. And I just like to look at this sometimes because it makes me feel better. Can you still see me? You can still see me. You can still see me. All right. So if we want to pay an extra $19,000, what does that take our payoff date to? Right now, we're on track to pay it off October 2028. That takes us to March 2026. So that means $689 is our monthly target. It means in order to pay it off by December of 2025, we need to put an extra $300, basically an extra $300 above and beyond the $689, above and beyond my current goals. which feels super, super doable, actually. That makes me feel way better. Oh, wait, no, that's January. That's January. December. Why won't it let me do it? There we go. That's a little different now, isn't it? That's about $1,200, which is an extra $600 a month. That's different. Okay, that still feels doable, but harder for sure. So we've also been side hustling really hard this month. So I'm actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put that as the target. I'm going to put that as the target. Then it thinks it's May 2027, but it doesn't know yet about my giant payment that I'm going to make towards it. So that's good. That's okay. We're going to save that. So what that's going to do is let me know how close I'm tracking to actually getting this paid off by the end of the year. I want my budget to reflect reality, even if reality hurts, you know? I do have 2 more paychecks this month. So this is fine for this month, but then starting next month, we're going to be looking at, we have to fill all these again and make all these little payments again, which is tough, especially with these bigger loans. But by the end of this year, we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll be under 6 figures. Let me make myself big again so we can talk about it here. We'll be under 6 figures in student loans, which it weighs on me really heavily, basically every day. And we'll be making progress, and we're going to have big goals every year from here on out. So basically, the plan is July 27th, transfer money from high yield savings. July 31st. No, you know what? Let's call it the 30th because I want to give it time to clear and stuff. So July 30th, we're going to make a humongous payment on my student loan debt together. I'll film that. We'll do it together. Maybe we do it on the 29th so I can do it on a Tuesday. I don't know. End of July, make a huge payment towards the student loans all together. And then starting on August 1st, until something big happens, whether they're paid off or whether there's a change or whatever with the student loan repayment, until told otherwise, we resume weekly payments with a minimum of $325 every single week is the minimum that gets taken out of my paycheck currently. So, and that doesn't include any side hustle money. That is just my base standard cost of living that I put towards my student loans every single week, every single Friday. I'll sit down with you all as part of our regular budget routine and make a payment, and we're diving back into these things. Interest be damned. We're making progress, and we're getting the loans paid off. So that's where we're at right now. I know a few people have talked about, asked about refinancing and all those things. I promise I've looked into every option, and there is nothing that's gonna, it just doesn't, I looked into refinancing and it was like a 0.25% difference than what I'm currently paying as far as interest rate goes. This is just where we're at. The graduate loans are what they are, and we're gonna pay them off, and this part's just kind of a grind. And I know that, and some days I'm like, okay, let's do it, and some days I'm really down about it. And I really appreciate you all on this journey with me, encouraging me and making sure that I look at things at all angles. And I've turned this over a million ways. There's no additional forgiveness coming down the pipeline from what I can see. There's no refinance option that really makes a lot of sense for me. There's no support from my company. There's just me and my wife and my family grinding out, doing what we can, throwing as many dollars as we can at these loans until they're gone. My goal is still, by the time I'm 35, I turn 33 in September, so that is a super lofty goal. I still think it can be done. I truly do believe that it can be done. It just might be harder than initially anticipated. So thanks very much for letting me yap at you. On Friday, we'll sit down and do a budget together, and we'll see how much closer we get to hitting that target for the month of July. I think we can do it. And I'll see you guys when I see you. On Sundays, we post a week in review, and I'm feeling really motivated to get this going again. I wish the interest part wasn't happening, but the making payments and seeing the numbers go down really, really does it for me. So thanks for hanging out. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. We'll see you Friday. We'll see you Sunday. We'll see you when we see you.